Welcome back to the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so that you do not miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Glad to see everybody in here. Sorry we're a little bit late. Big stuff going on. A lot of different things going on with obviously the transfer portal. There's some rumors going on we're going to talk about. I have our recruiting insider, Peyton Manning, coming in right now. What's up, Peyton? How are we doing today?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
Glad to see
Never
you here.
complain. Sir.
So I guess we can go ahead and just kind of get straight into it. Let's see. I'm going to flip this around. There we go. All right. So tell me a little bit about what's the latest on what we're seeing here. Obviously, we had Theo Wease that left into the portal yesterday. There's been some kind of rumbling about that.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, cool. Glad you're in here, Clem. Also, let's see. We've got apparently there's some guys that are going to go to the Senior Bowl, and we've got some declare for the draft as well. They didn't necessarily have to, so go for it.
Yeah. So transfer portal. What I'm hearing and what I'm expecting is about 15 to 20. 20 being the worst. People can speculate who that's going to be. You won't truly know until I would say Monday. Monday is going to be obviously when the portal opens. So I mean, we got to wait until Monday to find out really the damages that are coming from that. I mean, I don't anticipate losing a lot, but if what we're hearing about, the other people, then we're going to lose a couple significant people. And I want to speak on Theo Wease a little bit. I don't blame him at all for answering. He gave us another year,
Right.
and I think that he wanted to see a little bit more action, and we simply just could not give him that.
Kind of seemed like he got into Jeff Lebby's doghouse a little bit. Not performing during the week in practice the way he felt like he wanted him to is kind of some of the stuff that I saw.
They probably expected a lot from him, and Theo should have gave us a lot. I think, like you kind of said, didn't exceed our expectations coming, into the season. Probably didn't even match what we thought he could put up.
Right.
But I think he's going to go be a wide receiver one for somebody. I just don't think he fits that in this offense or on this team.
Well, and I think that, I mean, obviously he had a big game against Texas Tech. What I would say is this is another one of those, this kind of goes to show you that it wasn't just the defense that changed at Oklahoma this year. Everybody likes to, I mean, because of the fact that Jeff Lebby runs that high flying style of offense as well, it's different than what Lincoln Riley runs.
Yeah.
Different terminology, different way that they run routes. I mean, basically what Lincoln was doing was more straight up the field, mesh stuff, things like that. Whereas when you've got, and it's just a matchup thing that, hey, we're going to send our matchup guys out there and see what you can do with them. But it's not the same thing that Jeff runs or Lane Kiffin or some of those other guys. And it's, if you look at Jackson Dart, if you think about Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, even, I mean, he's one of those guys that is a, he had a hard time in the spring, looked a lot better by the time the season rolled around, but it was something that was hard for him to pick up too. So you can see why some of the receivers would have struggled with it. I mean,
yeah, 100%.
Or anybody.
He runs a more, obviously you could tell, spread offense. Like it really is. They're going to spread you from the hash to hash. It's a new offense, and Theo entered his name in the portal last year. He came back, and he said, I think part of his agreement was, hey, I want to put up stats to put me in the NFL, and I understand that. Kind of like Hazelwood, who went to Arkansas, he put up good enough stats to get drafted, and the first 3 rounds.
I feel like he should have waited another year though too. I don't know why he's gone on.
Yeah, it kind of surprised me, and in the day of age of NIL, if it was a money issue, then express your concern to the staff and they can get you an NIL deal. But that one did really surprise me. Whenever I had seen his post, I was like, damn, he's about to enter the portal again. And then I obviously read into it, and it was like, oh, no, he's going to the draft. And I was like,
right.
Oh, shit. I was like,
I was
it did kind of
surprised.
throw me
I was
off.
surprised at it. I figured because he didn't have anything. He didn't have a monster year. You know, I mean, he was okay. He was definitely their best receiver, but I don't think that he did anything.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like crazy, but I agree. Going on into the chosen class of 23, class 23, I'm reading up on it right now. They did an in-home visit today on 5-star Peyton Bowen. It's him, Coach Valet, and Brandon Hall. Went in there and did a in-home visit, so that's definitely interesting. There was a report on here that says they're going to do an in-home visit with David Hicks on Saturday.
Knew that was coming. Yep.
Yeah, Todd Bates, and then they expect his dad expects Brent Venables to come closer to National Signing Day. I don't think David Hicks is going to decommit from A&M if we were to flip him. I think what's going to happen is on National Signing Day,
he'll just announce his commitment.
Yeah, and then Peyton Bowen, there's a chance he may decommit and commit to us, but I'm not 100% sure. But obviously, with us losing the wide receiver to Georgia, Anthony Evans,
right?
We may keep in state Micah Tease, because he.
I've heard some things. I've heard some things from out of that school that's not happening.
You don't think so?
I don't know that it is. From what I understand, there's one of his teachers there that knows a friend of mine, and she says that he's not interested. He wants to leave the state. So
this is what interests me. He was in love with Oklahoma whenever it first, whenever he first started his commitment. Obviously, who wouldn't? Sure. He grew up here in Oklahoma. Then we were offering him as a cornerback. He didn't want to play cornerback.
Right.
But we didn't have the room. Wide receiver did not have it. Obviously, with Anthony Evans flipping, Micah Tease now is there. The wide receiver option is there. So,
yeah.
LD Washington, he's going to go stop by and speak with him on Friday. So
where's he out of? We'll see. Where's LD from?
LD Washington. That's our interterm wide receivers coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he.
Oh no, yeah, Ladaniums. Oh yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah. I just call him LD. It's way easier. But he's gonna go by there Friday and speak with him and just see kind of where they apparently they started pushing.
I hope that rumor was wrong. But from what I understand, he wants to go. He wants to leave the state no matter what. I think that it's something that he's thought about. I don't know that Fayetteville, Arkansas isn't exactly really getting out and checking out something new. I mean.
Yeah,
nothing against you, Arkansas folks. Sorry, but it's an Oklahoma podcast, so I don't really care. But talking about and here's the other thing with this portal stuff. The one thing I'm going to say is there's been a lot of right now. You already have the ones that we've already showed that have left. The other one there's a big rumor out there right now, and he definitely was non-committal. Was Dillon Gabriel. Will he stay? Will he go? He said, I don't know. It's too early to tell. He was basically going to take his time and think about it. The fact that he has to think about it. Listen, folks, I'm not happy about this.
If you would have told me before the season that, hey, Dillon Gabriel is going to probably transfer out of the season, I would have called you crazy simply because if he loves Jeff Levy's offense. And I don't think it has anything to do with Jeff Levy. I mean, the kid literally just won Newcomer of the Year award.
Exactly. And he's still getting bashed on.
You don't do that as a good quarterback. You just simply don't. Did he have problems at times this season with accuracy? A little bit.
Absolutely.
But we are in better hands with him running it one more year. Because a lot of people are like, oh, Jackson Arnold.
Listen, I think that Jackson if he comes in and wins the job from him, like literally has to go win from him, right? Then great. But aside from that, if we just lost a number one quarterback, a guy that's won so many games, he was Newcomer of the Year. He led a top 20, almost top 15 offense in the country with two games that he didn't even get to play in. I mean,
in those games,
he was better than everybody but Max Duggan. Better than everybody but Max Duggan in the entire conference, and yet here we are, talking about this because of the fact that there has been so much of this, what we call catching strays off of BS. Mm-hmm. And guys, if anybody's in here in the chat room right now trying to talk trash about Lebby or about Dillon Gabriel and you can't do it, there's a reason why. I've made sure that I'm not going to have it. I don't even want to see it anymore. I'm not going to have any. I don't mind criticism when it's due. Mm-hmm. If you're saying things like he sucks or fire him or let him get out of here or whatever that crap, the chat bot is not going to have it. They're going to kick you out. Mm-hmm. You'll be even in a timeout for a minute or so. So I won't see it. I don't want to see it. The reason is because I don't want to see the shit anymore. I feel like it's been ridiculous. It's not something that any of the if you're a real Oklahoma fan, I don't know why you would do that, because really what you're doing, you think that these guys aren't paying attention and watching these shows or paying attention to what you say on Twitter, because they are. They are. And so when you start doing stuff like that, I feel, look, when you're doing things like that and trashing this kid, it doesn't help for the next guy coming in either. You think that, I want to go in there so I can get brutalized by these freaking fan base. Come on, man. The same thing kind of goes for Theo Wease the other day. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, what he's referring to is I had got access to a picture of Theo Wease's Snapchat. Mm-hmm. And somebody leaked it to me, and I do my job / somebody was like, well, is it even really your job? No, this is my hobby. But as a hobby, y'all.
It is a job, though. It is a job,
Y'all follow me for your news, so technically it's my job. But I posted it, and I was like, yeah, he's officially. He talked about breaking up with the staff. Well, some fans were talking crazy about Theo Wease in there, and next thing I know, Theo Wease's mother is in my comments.
That was freaking gold.
And mentioned and blowing y'all up. That was,
the folks that were doing it. It's not you. My audience is pretty good about this. I've got a few people that do it here and there, more with Lebby than with Dillon.
But it just shows that they see people talking crazy about their kids, and that definitely means that the kids, Theo Wease definitely probably seen some of this stuff.
Oh, but I know that they see it, man. It's in their damn. I was on there, and there was one guy that apparently right after the game, he had a list of people that he posted on Twitter that could get the hell on, and Wease was on it and liked it.
Yeah. Whenever people post that stupid stuff, it's detrimental, and it makes
it's detrimental at every level, and not even talking about Wease or the guy that they may be talking about. Mm-hmm. When you're doing that, you don't think that they know that it could be them, because they're not perfect, 100%. Man. These are kids. Yeah. They're kids. The NFL players ain't perfect either. It's one thing to rip a guy making millions. And these guys ain't doing that. Most of these guys. No. You're going to have a few here and there. Dillon Gabriel wasn't making millions. He made a little bit of money, I'm sure.
I think part of this problem, though, of the Dillon Gabriel slander is that they look at Dillon Gabriel stats and then they go to Caleb Williams stats.
Hey, that is unfair, man.
Why can't he be doing this? Why can't I'm telling y'all right now?
That guy's on another planet.
I told people this in the offseason. Losing Caleb Williams was very detrimental. I told people that. Well, we don't need him. He's nothing. He doesn't have OU DNA. Screw him.
Good grief.
And I was like, he's
that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff gets you kicked right out of here. If I see it on. I mean, I'm one of those guys that I'm going to come at you on freaking Twitter too. It just bothers me. It's just one of those things that we're talking about kids. And even when it comes to, and Jimmy, I would agree with what you're talking about. There's some things that Lebby could do better. I would say, and here's the other thing. There is nobody on that team that is above any kind of criticism at all.
Yep.
There's a difference in constructive criticism and just killing somebody else. There's cutting off the head of it. Get Brent Venables out of here, or Lebby sucks. He needs to be fired, dude. Yep. You realize all these people that everybody wants to see Jackson Arnold come in. If Lebby was to leave, Jackson's not coming.
Yeah, Jackson's
a huge Peyton Bowen, or So you lose this recruiting class. That is the one good thing that you can say has really come out of this season was the fact that you have even in a 6-6 year, this is looking like it's about to shape up as the best recruiting class in Oklahoma history.
Yeah,
particularly on defense. If you get the Hicks flip, you're going to get the linebacker Sanford, right? Is it
yep.
Yeah,
Damian Sanford.
Yep. So you'd get Sanford, and you would get him at the same time. Also, you're talking about they do need to be okay. A little criticism is one thing, right? A little criticism is one thing. That's not what I'm talking about, and then that's not what we're talking about, Weston. We're talking about the guys that come in and say they suck, and get him out of here. And I mean, there's a couple of guys on there that say a lot of crap. That I've heard them say stuff like they hate this and hate that, and like hating players and hating the entire defense. I saw that once this year. It's like, good grief. I mean, could we just maybe have a little bit of let's just have a little bit of be normal. You could be upset about the game sucking or it was a bad game. Look, and there's a lot of stuff that is going on. What's up, man? How you doing, Sooner Cowboy? There's plenty that could be said. And as I said, I am not one of those guys that says that these guys are immune from any kind of criticism. There's things that I feel about Coach Venables, for that matter, that I feel like that he's not always himself. I wish that we saw more of that fiery spitting on the sideline, screaming. I mean, that's what players love about
Venables that need.
Be him, be yourself.
I agree.
And then also the same. And I don't know about the whole Ted Roof thing. I guess there's pretty good rumors out there that he is likely to be heading out, either going to be in just he may be a position coach or something like that, or they may be moving him
to
an analyst or whatever too.
Yeah, I do think that wouldn't be a terrible idea.
I would like to see Brent go ahead and call plays. You know what? If the offensive coaches can do it, if these offensive-minded head coaches can call a play or have a position group or whatever, then go ahead and do it. Why not?
Yeah.
If you're on defense, we know that he knows how to call a defense.
Yeah, I don't see a problem in that. I'm just going to be interested to see if they keep Washington as their wide receivers coach, if they bring in another defensive coach, coordinator. But I mean, the thing about Roof is he's never stayed at a school for a long period of time. He's always jumped ship.
Right. And I think a lot of it is that he's just got such a dry personality that it's hard for people to like envision him getting into a player and making them really encouraging them or motivating them, I guess would be the word I'm looking for. I can see that. I get it. I get that. And because even in the entirety of the of like saying, his press conferences, I mean, they're boring. They're boring.
Yeah.
His answers are boring. He's boring. I mean, you're like, good grief. But that doesn't mean he's a terrible coach. It just means that, from the outside looking in, maybe we don't see it. And I got to tell you, I didn't know anything about him, and I know coaches well, and I knew nothing about him coming into this season. So to me, I would rather go ahead and put Bates in that position or there's other guys that they could make as defensive coordinator if that's what you want. But de facto, it should be Brent. Levy also needs to introduce better play calling on attacking the short, intermediate passing routes. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of things that they could do, Dakota. You're right on that. And again, I feel like, but overall, when we look at what we were just talking about a few minutes ago, we're talking about a top 20 overall offense in the country for total offense. They were top 2 in the conference. If you have anything better than number 120 on defense, you're going to win a lot more games than they did this season. So it's really easy to sit here and batter and bash on this offense or Dillon Gabriel or Levy or the whole thing. But is it smart? No. I don't want, and that's why I said we're not having it in here, man. We are not having it in here. I'm not having these guys catching strays over this crap, because they average with Levy in the game, with Dillon Gabriel in the game, 36 points. That ought to be plenty. If you're top 70 in the country, you win at least 8, maybe 10 games. If you're top 50 in the country, they guaranteed win 10 games with that offense, just as it is. The other thing is there were a lot of drops this season. That wasn't all on. That was not all on Dillon Gabriel either. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to realize that, you know, now, they're not considered professionals yet. First and foremost, they're still student athletes. Number one. Number two, Billy, they can have an opinion. An opinion is one thing. Calling them stupid or calling them sucky and stuff like that. I'm not. You can do that elsewhere. You're not doing it on my show. I don't care.
So,
I mean, you know, you want to do that crap elsewhere, then go ahead.
We were talking about the wide receivers coach job. Here's an interesting thing I hadn't seen. Washington is actually the guy that the players and recruits want to keep the job. Now then, like you had said, like we had talked about samples, so he has yet to been formally offered the job, and others are pursuing very fast. So that's interesting.
Listen, I know that it. What did you? Who said this?
This is coming from Brandon Drum. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know they've been talking about that a lot, and but from what I understand, it's pretty much they're talking about that they could get both of them though. I'm not positive. I'm not positive that they get them either, but I know because the reason why I'm not positive about that is it's not like this is the only place that is looking at sample either. Apparently he's got offers for offensive coordinator at like Texas State, I think, but there may be a couple of schools that are willing to like make him the offensive coordinator as well. But also, you know, it's just one of them deals where, yeah, I'm with you, Clem. I agree with that. But you know, hey, folks, what we're going to do actually real quick, while we'll get back to some of this in a few minutes, but we've got some guests that we want to bring on. We have Oakland High School out of Tennessee quarterback Kade Hewitt and his star running back Erik Taylor. These guys actually, they are going for their third straight state championship at the 6A level in Tennessee. Kade was actually on an unofficial visit at Bedlam as well. So we're going to talk to them a little bit about that and so I'm going to bring them on now. Fellas, how we doing?
What's up?
Good. How we doing? This is Kade and Erik Taylor.
What's up, bro?
I hear you guys are not feeling too good. They're kind of under the weather, huh?
Yeah, there's been some sickness going around all over the team and, you know, just around this area, but we're getting through it.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, as you know, this is of course Peyton Manning. He is our recruiting analyst. He's also a member of the U.S. Army, but just one of our guys that comes in and updates us on a lot of different stuff. Appreciate you guys joining us today, though. Talk to us a little bit about this weekend, Kade. What do you guys? The Beach High School, is that correct?
Yes, sir. We're just kind of approaching it like we do every week. Try not to make it too big of a deal. At the end of the day, the other team, they're a bunch of humans just like we are. We just it's all about execution. Who executes, and that I feel like that'll determine who the winner is.
Okay. Well, and folks, again, as I said, these guys last year they went 15-0. They do have a loss on their record this year. They were top 10 in the country a year ago of all teams in the country. So this would be your third straight state championship. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Now, Erik, tell me a little bit about your recruitment, man. I've been watching you on film too, man. Whew. This is running back Erik Taylor, everybody. Tell me a little bit about what your recruitment's been like so far. I know Kade has been, it's been kind of spotty. So have you been getting a lot of looks? And I mean, where are you looking to go?
Yes, sir. Ever since I was decommitted from Tennessee State, I've got a lot of looks. I'm supposed to be going on a few official visits in January. So.
Okay. Cool. Where what official visits are you looking at so far?
I can't remember all of them from the top of my head, but I know
you got quite a few then coming.
Yeah.
Austin P, UT Chat, Troy.
Okay.
And one more. Think
EKU.
Yeah, EKU and
okay.
A&M.
Nice. Yeah, Jimmy says that he looks like Patrick Mahomes. Nah, man.
I ain't even gonna lie. Like from a little bit of a distance, he
does got the Mahomes hair going on though. Yeah, there you go, Kade.
He's got the look. So question for both y'all: y'all looking to do early signing day, or y'all waiting till National Signing Day later on in the year?
I'm signing in February.
Okay, so you're waiting earlier than later. What about you?
I'm not sure yet exactly.
Okay.
Kade has a couple of different looks now. He obviously came he got to go to the Bedlam game.
Okay, so
on that unofficial with Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then so there's also been some recent interest. I know with Indiana, Georgia Tech, they've kind of taken a look at him, which they should have, man. This guy has a big arm. They don't throw the ball a ton at Oakland because they have amazing running backs like Eric Taylor, and not to mention the fact that Kade can run it a little bit himself. So big guys, they like to kind of run a smash mouth kind of game. But this is man. The games that I've watched them play this season, they put it on them. Now they've been pushed once probably in the playoffs, but you guys are expecting that this is going to be a pretty tough game, apparently, huh? I guess they run it a lot too.
Yeah, yes, sir. They're a powerful team as well. They run the ball quite a lot, so that's been the main emphasis. Is defense has to be physical, and I think at Oakland, that's kind of the overall, like, that's what we try to be. That's what we're known for, is being physical, pound the rock and stop the run as well. So I think if we do our job, it'll be good for us.
Where's
little big brother Duce at?
I'm not sure where he's at. The game's at UT Chat, so it'll be Chattanooga.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so it might have to, if it's going to be one of them slobber knocker games, man, I can't wait to see this, man. I'm hoping maybe I can get out there this weekend, man, but I'm not too positive I can. Either way, I will watch the game, no doubt about it. But obviously, there's also been some other looks. I know we've been getting a couple of different folks have asked about you, Kade, that you're going to start getting some looks as well too. We're talking, this is the same high school for you Sooner fans. This is the same high school that Woody Washington went to as well. Obviously, a Sooner, big time on defense the last couple of years for Oklahoma. I think he led the team in interceptions the last 2 seasons. So
he's a stud for us.
Yeah, man. I like Woody, man. He's always been real good. But so this is a real deal program. These guys are sending players to places like Oregon and Miami and Georgia, and and there's a reason for it, because they go and kick everybody's butt all throughout the year. So guys, we appreciate you guys coming on, and we just wanted to talk to you a little bit and tell you good luck this weekend.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
so,
guys.
A little bit of advice for y'all. Just as much as I'm in the recruiting world, if y'all have any JUCO offers, don't always count them out. Some people hate on JUCOs, and I don't know why. The JUCO.
No, that's where you want to go if you don't get Division I. That's what you want.
Yeah, if you get any significant JUCO interest, don't count them out. They get looked at, and if you have a really good coach, always ask the coach if they have connections to D1, because that'll help you. You'll play D1, and I promise you that. Because if you have connections, they'll get you looked at, and I promise that.
Yeah, and I've actually got a couple of things that I wanted to send to you guys, Kade, and I'll get it all out to you here into your dad for you guys to. We're going to make sure that we get your clip taped down to just what they want to see, and then of course what you want to email. And you guys, you know what you need to do. But right now, let's just focus on go get that state championship, fellas. Number 3 in a row. It would be 4 out of 5, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you do it, well, good luck.
I'll be watching from someplace. I'll get with him and find out where I can check
definitely.
it out at.
We're gonna check it out, man. I look forward to it, man. And you guys, good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you on afterwards. We'll get you back on the show.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Yes, good luck.
All right. So listen, Clem, these guys, man, if you haven't seen that football team, they are big, strong. Kade's little brother last year he played left tackle. I know they've had some injuries, so he's played all over the line a little bit this season. He's actually a junior, and he's getting a lot of looks at the Division I level. And 1AA as well, even as a junior, as a lineman. So
he's
big guys. They're strong, fast. I mean, they've had a chokehold on Tennessee Class 6A football for the last couple of years. And as we said, you're talking about a program that produces guys like Woody Washington, and of course, Eric Gray came from Tennessee also, and none of those guys touch these dudes. I mean, and Trent Dilfer's been coaching in the same division, and they kick their tail every year that they've played them as well. So, look, man, this is these guys are something else, man. But anyway, who is this, Mr. Bowen? Yeah, sure. Boy. I sure am getting a lot of beef lately coming in here.
Hey, they're coming at you.
Coming at me lately. Thank you, Mr. Bowen. I'll do that. I'll make sure I do that.
Listen, I haven't noticed it all. I promise you. Mr. Bowen, that made me laugh a little bit. But I will say this.
Talk to us a little bit about. Hey, look, real quick, not to interrupt him there, Mr. Bond, but talk to us a little bit about what you think is going to happen as far as some of these guys that they're trying to flip. Talking about Hicks, and obviously Peyton Bowen.
Yeah. So from what I've heard, I talked to somebody else because I'm interested, but Peyton, it's the same thing. Peyton Bowen, man, he's high on Oklahoma. He loves Oklahoma, but his parents love A&M, or not A&M, excuse me, Notre Dame. I think that this is going to really he's saying that he's wanting to make a final decision soon.
Right.
And I would hope that whenever he makes that decision, it's the final. But I mean, they're pushing hard for him, both Notre Dame and Oklahoma. Supposedly A&M has fallen out of that fight. They're still pushing, but it's ultimately now two teams have risen, Notre Dame and Oklahoma. I think it all depends on what Peyton Bowen wants to go for. Early playing time, Oklahoma's there year one, possibly maybe year two.
Especially
like the latest.
He is, man. That guy's if you've watched him at all,
he's a playmaker. When it comes to David Hicks, oh my gosh, I don't think he was ever really sold on. I don't think he was really ever sold 100% on A&M. I think that.
Yeah.
We've spoken about it before. Something translated that last 3 hours, 2 hours, and even 5 minutes up before signing or announcing it was A&M. I just think that it's going to come down to, what he sees as the best fit. I mean, the staff needs.
Uh-oh. Got a little bit of he's frozen. All right. I know that the staff, from what I understand about that, with what's coming with Bowen, right, and we lost you there for a second there, Peyton.
Yeah, I'm back. Electricity. We're getting like 95 mile per hour winds here today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're supposed to have really, really bad winds, but they warned us about it. It shut off the building. But anyways, to wrap up, David Hicks, it's going to come down to, and if I was the staff, I would pitch him, hey, you come to Oklahoma, you're going to play year one, especially with Redmond leaving and, any other defensive linemen that are entering the portal. He's going to have a significant shot. At A&M, he's going to wait a year or two. I mean, with the guys in front of him, he's going to wait. I mean, there's no question. He might get to see a little bit of action, but at Oklahoma, he's going to be impactful year one. I just think that they're going to have to push. They're going to have to push different angles for him. So
yeah. Curry
It's all
in
about
the
closing.
comments asked you, if you have any idea who the Sooners are targeting in the portal? If you have any specific targets that they've been talking about.
Not names at the moment. I was supposed to write them down. Like I've told you, I've been busy with casework. But there's a guard that they're pushing pretty hard for. We're going to see offensive linemen and we're going to see offensive linemen and defensive lineman players a lot. I think
also probably linebackers is what I've been hearing a lot of as well. Yeah. That's where they need the most depth. Obviously, folks would be at your defensive tackle positions, linebacker positions, offensive line even as well.
Especially with the graduates that we're having, we're going to lose a couple graduating plus transfer portal. You never know over there, but we definitely need to hit it for offensive line, defensive line, linebackers. That's my definitely top 3 positions we need to hit hard.
And I think that's kind of what the number was looking like. Every number that I've seen from 247 Rivals has their rosters looking like they're more going
depleted,
heavy on the defensive side, of course, and then along the line. As far as this question here from Jimmy, are we going to go out to the Bama receiver Leary? My guess, they hadn't said it. I know that it's not something that they've talked about, but as a speed guy and having lost Anthony Evans, I would think so. They're for sure got to be making contact with them, I would think.
So with BV's, how am I going to put this? The way he attacks the portal, it's different. They're going to contact, if they're interested, and they're going to contact him, and they're going to say, "Hey, why did you enter the portal?" And of course, if they have connections there at that school with coaches, they're probably going to call those coaches and go, "Hey, what can you tell us about this guy?" So with BB's thing is that if they entered the portal for the right reasons, we will offer them. So. But yes,
it doesn't sound like Leary was like a problem kid or anything like that.
No, and I think that the guys that just want opportunity, those would be more the guys that we will go after.
Right.
But
and that happens a lot. It's what I was saying last night. That happens so much at places like Alabama and even Georgia. You know, I was trying to remember that linebacker's name from Arkansas, and I still haven't looked it up. But he was one of the top guys. Yes, and
Drew
that
Sanders.
dude. Yeah, man, he never could get on the field at Alabama. Never could get on the field. He's an All-American.
He's a finalist for the best linebacker in college football.
And
and
he couldn't get on the field at Bama.
Yeah.
It's
pretty crazy. I was hoping we'd pull him last year. This is where I even covered recruiting, so I don't know where we were in that. I know, asking back, we were in like top 3, but Shelton ended up deciding Arkansas. But yeah, he's a finalist for the best linebacker, and we were this close to pulling him in high school, and we didn't pull him.
If you look at his stats from this season, they were unbelievable. I mean, he's been all over the place. I mean, you look around, and I remember hearing some talk, on ESPN, places like that, where they were like, "Man, this is a different kind of cat." During fall practice, things like that, when they're starting to see him. And I think the same would probably be said for Leary. If you remember that he came from that 21 class, and they got 6, I want to say it was 6 that were 4-star or better receivers. And then last season for 2022, there's 2 guys that are already cracking into that lineup and getting to play quite a bit as well. He was looking at it as one of those things as, man, I'm already not getting in. And then we've got these other guys. Yeah. So, when you've got, you kind of got to go find your place to play. I haven't heard anything bad about him whatsoever when it comes to attitude, things like that.
Anything with him is going to come out. I really don't. I just think, like I was saying, BV is going to get people from the portal, but they've got to enter for the right reasons, and they have to fit his culture as well of what he's want to build. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely keeping my ears and eyes open for people that we're offering and interested in the portal. It's also kind of hard to get a feel too, because portal is open to graduate transfers right now, but the undergrads, they're not technically eligible to enter until Monday. So this brings up another topic. I had a lot of people asking me, but Clayton Smith on 24/7, these guys on 24/7, they're not in the portal. They will not show up in the portal until that portal officially opens for them. People didn't know about, correct me if I'm wrong on his name, but Cavante Henry. He was a Michigan flip last season. He got removed off the roster. Don't quote me on this because some things I hear 60% right, 40% wrong, but supposedly he'd gotten some disciplinary action, and what's a way to punish a player is make him go work out with Smitty. Smitty will get you right, and they're going to look past it after that. Well, he didn't supposedly decline the workout, and then that's when they were like, all right, well, if you're going to decline the workout, you're obviously not fit for us. You're free to enter the portal. And that's why you won't see him until December or, on Monday as well.
Okay. So, so he's not in the portal yet, but he's about to be, huh?
Yeah, there hasn't been any official announcement, but yeah, he will be on the portal on Monday. Same with Clayton Smith. Clayton Smith, I
was going to ask you about this. So what about Malachi Coleman decommitting from Nebraska? Have you heard anything about that?
Supposedly, from what I'm hearing, we cooled off of him, and that's why he initially went to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word. Now then, with Anthony Evans decommitting, and if depending on how they feel with Tease,
right,
maybe we go after him at wide receiver. But we'll see. We'll see on that. But yeah, supposedly we had cooled off on him,
right,
which I didn't know of, but we had cooled off of him, and then that's why he ultimately ended up choosing Nebraska. But
it makes you wonder kind of what's going on. If maybe why would you drop your commit?
Exactly.
If they hadn't pulled the scholarship, because of having a new coach.
The reason why he mainly had decommitted, obviously, was he was very close with their head coach, and then the coach,
Scott Frost. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not even Scott Frost. He was close with the coach that he got appointed. I cannot think of his name right now. He just got arrested. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He just got arrested, and so now obviously he's not going to be in that program anymore. He's going to be released.
The guy that replaced him?
Yeah, that replaced Scott Frost. Yeah, he got arrested for domestic violence.
Oh,
I cannot think of his name right now. I don't know why. But he had a good relationship with him because he was their offensive coordinator. And then he's going to be released from the program, or already is because of the whole ordeal. So
go ahead. If you've heard anything on this, go ahead and let us know.
About the Clemson?
True to the rumor about Clemson players looking to come to Oklahoma. I hadn't really heard the rumor. I wouldn't be overly surprised, but I will tell you that he's not big on poaching players from Dabo.
Yeah, that's going to be the big problem with that one. I did hear some of it. They may have interest in OU, but like you said, Brent Venables might not even offer those guys. DJ is expected to hit the transfer portal though, and then obviously DJ's little brother, the defensive lineman, would hit as well. So this is where it's going to get interesting. If Dillon Gabriel enters, do we offer DJ if he enters?
Uyunglele?
Yeah, I don't even.
Well, his brother's one of the top recruits in the country.
One of the top defensive linemen in the country.
Right.
But they're expected to be in a package deal. If not OU, then they're planning on going out west to either California or somebody even said Southern Cal for their defensive lineman brother, but I don't see that happening.
Right. And yes, Bobby, that's exactly correct. It would be one of those deals where it would have to be under the blessings of Dabo before. He wouldn't even ask Dabo. Dabo would have to come to him first, is what it sounds like to me.
We'll see though, because I think that rule kind of my thing is
it was more for really last year, I think, than anything else.
Is it poaching if they enter the portal knowing they're leaving Oklahoma and then Brent Venables reaches out?
Not in my mind, it's not. I don't care anything about Dabo Swinney, so go ahead.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm not a big Dabo Swinney fan. I know that Coach V is, and every right, he's got every right to be. Myself, I think that he's a blowhard, so I could care less. Take him.
Yeah, but we'll see. The portal is going to heat up really soon, and it's not even a quarter, or I wouldn't even say a tenth of the way heated up.
No.
Because whenever it opens on Monday, we're going to see about another, 30% of the portal. And then after the bowl games, that's when we're going to see about 98% of it. Right. And then after summer and spring workouts, that's whenever we'll see who's fully in the portal.
Right. Obviously, depending on what bowl game they're in and whether, I mean, if they're certain guys and that aren't getting a lot of playing time, they're not going to wait around about it. But so they can enter it. They can enter it at any time. But we're talking. We've got a couple of months going, guys, to where all the way through to National Signing Day in February, that you're going to have, a lot of movement. And the reason is because there's just no. The NCAA has 0 teeth left.
I mean, you remember last year, what was it, 3 weeks for, maybe it was a little bit earlier, like a month or two before the season started, Jordan Addison jumped in the portal and went to USC. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's really going to be this portal mess is going to be last until 3 months before the season. Like we're not going to be settled with our roster until about 3 months before the season. So we'll see what happens and what moves around and whatnot.
I think so too. And I mean, as far as the recruiting class is concerned and stuff like that is what I was more talking about. But I think that you can see that going forever.
Well, even the recruiting class, you see somebody better coming in than you. You just, in the day and age, maybe you don't want to compete, which some people don't. They're just like, well, you know what? Fine.
I think a lot of that has to do with, if they're bringing a guy in for their position and they're, if they're better than you or whatever, maybe. Yeah. But I can't imagine anybody that would want a kid that doesn't want to compete. So, at least give it a shot for a year or whatever. And I think that's kind of what happened with Theo, is that we'll give it a try and see how it goes or whatever. He got in Lebby's doghouse, man. That's what it amounted to. So, that's just kind of one of them things. That's how I feel about it as far as that goes. But, James, he says BV has the same personality quote flaw that Stoops had, extreme loyalty. I agree with that. When it comes, and listen, I don't even have, I love it that he's like that to an extent. But again, if they're going into the portal anyway,
you should
you'd rather them go somewhere else other than Oklahoma. And I don't know how many guys we're talking about or who we're talking about necessarily. I hadn't necessarily heard the rumor. It's not a surprising rumor to me at all because of the fact that they struggled throughout a lot of this season at Clemson and even on defense, even with the fact that they had all those All-Americans. There were some games that they gave up a lot of points, man. So,
and that quarterback, DJ, he has a pretty good stud quarterback behind him. I mean, I just think that DJ.
He's definitely on his way out for sure. He lost it, and I don't know. So, I know that he is going to start in that conference championship game, but
I think next year they're going to look at something new. They've given DJ a year to mentor him, and now they're like, all right, DJ, well, good luck in your endeavors.
Right. But we'll see. Listen, I mean, and that's the thing. When you're replacing a national championship quarterback, in fact, 2 of them, the expectations are there. And the truth of it is, I just think he lost confidence more than anything else. Yeah. I don't know that's what makes me wonder whether or not Oklahoma would even consider or be in that boat. I know that with his little brother being a big time, but I think he's not already at Clemson, is he? He's in the recruiting class now, right?
No, he's.
There's another one. No, then, I guess.
No, you're right. He's
so I think he's already committed somewhere out west. I don't think that he's in. He's not going to Clemson.
I'm about to look it up. I got to know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going to Clemson. But and I think it's because they all know that DJ's out. DJ's out, man. He had his year. He's had 2 seasons now, and they've had 3 losses both seasons. Yeah. Bye. You're done.
And they have a high expectation ever since Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
and Deshaun Watson before that,
Yeah.
So, you've got 2 guys that have come in, won national titles. Of course, it's easy to argue that a lot of that had to do with the fact that they had monster, nasty defenses. And I think that the same is true this season when you start looking at the top 2 teams in the country, they're pretty good on offense. They are unbelievable on defense, and that Michigan and Georgia. I mean, you go and you start looking at, first of all, that was an amazing game plan by Harbaugh in that game against Ohio State. For them to go up top, even though they hadn't done it a whole lot this season, for them to do that, and then just the way that they battered and beat up C.J. Stroud. I mean, he ended up with a lot of yards, but he did not look good.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
He's
it could be too high of expectations, James, but yeah.
Yeah, his little brother, he's a top 10 23 edge. Currently warm for Ohio State, Oregon, USC, and Alabama. So
yeah, I know he's one of the top guys in the country though. Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposedly, him and his older brother DJ, they're supposedly a package deal.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, you want to play football together. I understand. I would love to play football with my brother. So
no, I get it. And I feel like that's a possibility. And I mean, particularly if they've run off Dillon Gabriel, if we're running him off, is DJ maybe Levy could get him back. You know what I mean? If he could, because from what everybody says from Clemson, it was just it's one of those deals where he kind of lost confidence. Maybe he comes, gets in this system and gets it back. Who's to say? I feel like you would definitely want to have a guy that you can start though coming into next season if Jackson Arnold isn't ready. And folks, anybody who thinks that Jackson's just guaranteed to come in here and be ready to be the starting quarterback, all you have to do is look towards Clemson, because to be honest with you, Cade Klubnik hasn't shown that he's ready. The times that he's gotten into the game, he hasn't thrown the ball well. He hasn't shown that he's ready. And this is a guy that won the state championship a year ago as well. Or 2 years or whatever it was they won. And I think they beat Quinn Ewers in one of them. But I mean, he was as polished as it gets coming out of high school, which is what I feel about Jackson Arnold. And they run a similar offense, all that. That's all well and good. But a true freshman is a true freshman. And it is rare that you get a guy like Caleb Williams, that it was one thing for him to come in after 5 or 6 games and be ready. And then, but it just doesn't happen very often, guys. It just does not happen very often. I mean, I go back, he maybe Johnny Football. I mean, he won the Heisman as a freshman, but I think he was a redshirt though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think he was a redshirt anyway.
Well,
but go ahead.
I was just going to say, come Monday, we're going to find out a lot about this team and about where we stand and, who's really bought in. I mean, I'm sitting here reading reports. Marvin Mims, the word is around him is that he's expected to come back, but word around his people is that he's wanting to go to the draft.
Right.
So we'll see with him.
I think he may have hurt himself doing that this year with just for the drops and not having the numbers. I was watching Parker and Brandon yesterday, and they were talking a little bit about how he probably would have added 300 or 400 yards had he not had all those drops, and more touchdowns as well. And another year in the system and it's new. You might come in and hurt and help yourself a lot. I would like to see him come back. I think Marvin is an unbelievable talent. I think it'd be great if he came back into it. I don't see him going into the portal. I think it's either draft or stay, right?
Yeah.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I don't see him entering the portal.
Right.
Some people are sold on it.
He would certainly not be going to USC, folks. If that's what you think, he is not a Lincoln Riley fan.
Speaking of USC fans think they have a really, really, really good shot at landing Theo Wease, and I am here to tell you, Theo Wease is not a fan of Lincoln Riley.
No, he's not.
He was
didn't go last year.
He was going to the portal last year if Lincoln didn't leave. We were going to lose Marvin Mims, Theo Wease, and that's just 2 players right there that have probably.
And Hazelwood was leaving either way too. Hazelwood didn't like
Hazelwood. Hazelwood was another one.
He was gone either way.
Rattler was leaving. I mean,
They just they went ahead and left anyway. That's all it was. And when it comes to he's not going there. And here's the other thing, from what I've understood, everybody keeps thinking, and I think if anybody's going to go, if they're going to get another transfer receiver, it's going to be Worthy, which I think would be a big mistake for him, by the way. Right? He's the number one option at Texas. He's not going to be when he goes to SC. And he's already not happy being the number one option somewhere. How happy is Lincoln going to make him? You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't get that. I mean, if you want to leave, go ahead and leave. But I don't get it going into going to USC because of how many good players they have on their the receiving end.
Biletnikoff winner. They've got
Jordan Addison's going, but they have Mario Williams. Obviously, they have Brandon Rice already there. They
also have a recruit coming in that's a stud.
Taj Washington, he's already there. It would not make sense for him to go there. I really don't. I don't understand that. Jordan Addison, though, he's going to the draft. He should go to the draft. If not, I'd be pretty surprised. But Mario Williams,
he's definitely, man. I was surprised that he didn't go last year.
Yeah, after the year he had last year,
Yeah, I think that and then he turned around and had another great one. So I don't really know. Here's the thing about the draft, folks. And it's weird to me that Redmond is like a late round. We didn't talk about Jalen Redmond, going for Senior Bowl. If you go to the Senior Bowl, are you guaranteed to not come back, or he could still come back? Because
I think that
it seems to me like that's like a evaluation time for those NFL coaches.
I think if you play in it, I think that you're in it. I'm not 100% sure. I've never really looked into it.
I want to look at that. So we'll take a look. But so with Redmond, right now his draft grade is late rounds, like the last of the late rounds. I don't know why you would make that move. And and it appears that they want him to come back, so I'm not exactly sure about that. But anyway, when it comes to these receivers and stuff, I think that that's all going to work itself out. There's going to be a lot of musical chairs when it comes to that. You do have, and when it comes to, is Cole leaving?
Isaiah Coe. Everything I've heard, he's wanting to come back.
Really?
Yeah. He's wanting to come back for one more
year. Pop
their
list back up there for you.
Yeah, that's everything I've heard, but we'll see. I mean, he has a lot to prove for it. I think he gets drafted. I think he needs to come back one more year in order for him to get drafted well. But
right. Yeah, and as I said, this roster update, he updates this you've updated it a bunch in the last couple of days. So make sure that you are following him. It's at the letter C, Ball, Oklahoma, which is under him as soon as I do that. Oops, no, it isn't. It is now. At C-Ball, Oklahoma on Twitter. That list gets updated often. And as I hear things, I'll be popping things up as well for those guys too. Players should be able to go. Yeah, I feel like that's the case too. Well, as long as they don't hire an agent is what it's been in the past, which I don't know why that matters. Mm-hmm. I think that they should be able to hire an agent now since there's NIL and all that other stuff. Yeah. Somebody needs to help them with their money. I would agree with you on that as well. I feel like if you haven't already gone into the draft itself, I mean, that's obviously once you do that, it's too late. But because that's way into the obviously that's obviously later into the summer and everything else. So it doesn't even make sense that you're gonna gamble on that. That's a gamble. But that being said, most of these guys, they've got these evaluations. They do an evaluation on where you're probably going to go. What they tell you where you're going to go, or when you should go. You'll get reaches here and there and stuff like that. But it's more times than not, they know who's going where. That's why these guys are able to pick you know, hey man, what I know about about some of these draft gurus, man, they don't know jack. Strip.
Marcus Stripling. I haven't heard a lot of buzz around him.
Yeah, I haven't heard either.
It's tough to know right now who's all staying and going because of not a lot of. I mean, I'll be honest here. Not a lot of people are going to say if they're going to stay or go. Because
they're going to wait until it's actually time where they can leave. Yeah.
Well, and they'll go to the bowl game because a lot of these players, you know, they want to play in a bowl game, get some more, you know, rings, and because you get a ring if you win a bowl game, but.
Yeah, you get a week of a vacation too.
Yeah,
you know,
and they don't want to get backlash at the bowl game, so they'll play in the bowl game, then they'll come out after the bowl game, probably a week or so after, and they'll say, "Hey, I'm entering the portal."
Mm-hmm. And some of the ones the early entries into the portal are going to be those guys that you know are those 4 or 5-star dudes that haven't gotten playing time,
that haven't played,
and so some of these other guys, when you start thinking about a guy like Stripling. You know, he's not as high end on that recruiting level to where, you know, that's an immediate somebody's going to gobble him up. So you got to think about where they were, what kind of player they are now. And I'm not saying anything bad about Strip, but, you know, these guys are, you know, it's obvious. They know where they are and where they stand in terms of around the country, the other guys that play the same position as them. So, you know, if you know, at right now, it doesn't really behoove you. If you're Theo Wease, you were a 5-star, you know, you were a 5-star player. So you're going to get somebody that's going to want to gobble you up quick. Right. Which it will, that'll happen. I feel like, but you know, if you're a guy that's a 3-star guy or a 4-star, even a low 4-star guy, maybe you don't do that. You know, maybe you wait until until you've already heard a few things, because believe me, they do that too. You know, particularly if you're Lincoln Riley out there tampering with everybody. You know, they do that kind of stuff. So again, they're going to hear these things. And as you said, I think all the way up until February and throughout, and past then, you're going to start seeing a bunch of guys that are moving around and, you know, entering the portal, deciding to stay, whatever. So,
yep. It's gonna be messy, I think.
Silly season.
Yeah.
It is silly season. Any big flips to be on the lookout for. Keep watching ATM. The ATM machine has went empty. So they're gonna keep on flipping out. I would think that those would be the main ones. There would be the guys that are going to Texas A&M.
I would think that Peyton Bowen. I mean, obviously, it's the same message we've been having. Peyton Bowen, you know, David Hicks and Damian Sanford. That's the big ones I would be looking at. There was a report that if we didn't feel confident in Peyton Bowen coming, we were going to talk to another corner. I had it pulled up. I had it pulled up, but whenever I lost electricity, I lost it. But
okay,
I would just keep watching for Peyton Bowen, and then which brings me to this topic. So there's actually an announcement tomorrow supposed to happen by 23 through Hayes Fawcett. So we'll see who that is, because that's always intriguing. Anytime Hayes Fawcett has a huge announcement for a 23 guy, then yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Dakota, what I would say to what you're saying, I know Bowen and Hicks, but curious on any big 4-star guys. So where you're going to want to look is where I'm paying attention to is a lot of these jobs that have turned over. So, you know, when you start looking at places like, you know, not that Colorado had a ton of those guys anyway, but like places like Auburn for sure, Nebraska maybe, but like more, I'm looking to Auburn, and they've already had a bunch of guys that have decommitted. Even though they brought in Hugh Freeze, who I think most people generally consider that he's, you know, going to do very well at Auburn. But I would say you probably want to look in those areas probably for some.
I got some before you I found the page again. So you're talking about 4 stars right now. 4-star commit. I'm gonna do my best shot at this. Eno Ada. It's spelled Eno Ada. ENETTA. Ada.
Okay.
Ida.
Okay.
He's a 4-star commit to Michigan. I had reported that he was at the Bedlam game on an unofficial.
Right.
It's interesting because Collins, at the 4-star athlete Collins H. Hongs, I don't know. I'm butchering these last names, but he flipped from Michigan to Miami yesterday, or 2 days ago now, excuse me. And him and Ida had a good friendship. So could pick up on some momentum on him. And then there was also a Kansas State edge. He's a 3-star recruit out of Kansas, and that's Jordan Allen.
It was about Deion Sanders. You keep on with what you're talking about.
But it was so just Jordan Allen, the edge out of Kansas. Not something to bank on yet, but
right.
They're saying that they're having good conversations. He's a 6'4", 240 guy, and then the Ada dude, he's gonna be coming in at 6'4", 260. So those guys would probably be year 2 helps. But
right.
That's all I've got on flips.
Have you heard anything as far as Brandon out of the 3-star receiver out of Noble, Brandon? Is it?
I know who you're talking about. I follow him on.
I can't believe I forgot his stupid name. That's stupid. Go ahead.
I have not. He might get a PWO, but I don't see him
not getting a scholarship. Maybe a PWO. Yeah, the guy led the country.
Preferred walk on.
You know, the guy led the country in freaking pretty much everything. So,
like he talked about, he said that if he was like he was talking about, if he was 6'3", he'd be a 5-star recruit.
Absolutely. If he was 6 foot, he'd be a 5-star recruit.
Yeah, and so we'll see. I mean, if anything, I think that they're going to give – I think it's going to be kind of like our preferred walk-on last year that ended up getting playing time. I cannot think of – I know the fans hated his dad right now, but gosh, I cannot think of his name.
Oh, you're talking about Stutzman?
No, not Stutzman. He's a wide receiver.
Oh, wide receiver.
He reminds me so much of Stoops.
Oh yeah, why am I forgetting his name? That kid was a stud too, man. Yeah.
He's gonna get a player. He's gonna get a scholarship, I'm hoping, next year. But gosh, I cannot think of his name. But it may be the same thing as him. He gets a preferred walk on, comes on, shows out, and ended up getting a scholarship. But it's just hard.
Brandon Harper's who we're talking about right now. So Brandon Harper.
Brandon Harper. Yeah. There it is. That's who. Yeah. So Brandon Harper, probably going to get a preferred walk-on.
Yeah, and you were talking about Gavin Freeman just now,
Gavin Freeman. Right? Yeah, that's the walk-on we had.
Thanks, show. We appreciate you guys. Y'all always hold us up, man. We appreciate you guys.
I got so many names in my head.
Man, me too, man. I've been freaking. It's like a weird filing system going on in my brain right now, and it's not always working.
Putting her in, but Freeman got a preferred walk-on last year, and came in and had an immediate impact. Really, really good player, and I expect a lot from him next year as well.
I do too. And I also feel like, again, if a guy like Harper, you can't really go wrong with him. But then a guy like, and I'm going to keep on bringing this up, my guy down in San Antonio, Darian Holmes. I mean, when you go out and you put up 81 catches, 1,275 yards, 18 touchdowns, and you're 6'3", 195, you guys that have seen him on this channel, you know what I'm talking about. He goes and gets every football. There's plenty of guys out there. Receiver wise, I'm not worried about that. I feel like they're going to find the right guy. Because, and here's the thing, if they don't go and get after Darian, there are plenty of schools down in South Texas and TCU and then everywhere else that are looking at him already. So I know that UTSA kind of came to the table a little bit the other day, a little bit with him. They need to step up a big if they want him. Even being a home product, they need to step up big and get Darian. I feel like there's any number of places. You might even go JUCO in that matter for either one of those guys, because they get recruited out of there. There's some college or D1 programs that only recruit out of JUCOs. You know, that's pretty much all they do. So
and they stay very competitive whenever they do that as well.
Absolutely they do. And they're a little more polished when they come in. They've been on a weight program that is more similar to what you're doing at the D1 level. So that's a big deal. Let's see. Well, let's talk a little bit about this weekend. Folks, what are your thoughts about, I know what your thoughts are about USC. Are they going to beat Utah? Will they get into obviously if they beat Utah, they're going to be in the playoff. And does TCU, there's been this stupid, I think it's a stupid freaking narrative that if TCU loses this game to K-State, they still go to the playoff. I think that's asinine to even believe that. But what do you guys think? I don't think so either. I think that then that throws Ohio State back into the mix.
Yeah, Ohio State will definitely.
They're going to jump over them because everybody thinks they're better. Not that I necessarily do, but
it's just the way the committee is. I mean, and some people were talking. It's bizarre to do that because Ohio State couldn't even make it to their conference championship game. Right. So why are you punishing Tennessee? Which I understand why, but their theory is why are you punishing TCU?
Sure.
And even if USC loses, as much as I hate Lincoln Riley, why are you punishing? Why are you punishing?
But they'll have that'll be two losses for them. That'll be two losses for them. They're out, no doubt. No matter what, they're out. So they need to win, because for that matter, okay, so if you end
who do you have winning that game?
Utah would be. I think Utah probably wins it because I just think that I believe that one of the best coaches in the country that nobody gives him credit for it is even guys that I freaking know is Utah's coach. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but I honestly, with the way that Caleb Williams is playing and they're kind of pissed off about losing that game, it was by a 2-point conversion anyway.
Yeah.
Should they win it? Neutral field? Probably. Could I see them losing it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll be honest, I want them to lose. I kind of want them to win, and I don't know.
I feel like
Georgia.
Here's the deal. I know one thing. They are not going to end the season on a win. It's either going to be, they could in a regular bowl game. If they go to the playoff, I don't care if they play Michigan or Georgia, they're going to get skull drug. Yeah. Period. You go up against a defense like that. Look at what they did to CJ last week, and he's not the same as Caleb Williams. Yeah. But those guys are going to be I don't know.
They're going to be ready.
They're not going to be able to touch. And here's the thing. You're going to get to see, as a USC fan, you're going to get to see a lot about what we already know as Oklahoma fans, is that these guys are not prepared to play against that kind of a juggernaut when you have a defense. That's why the more that the season has gone on, I do believe that part of the reason that Lincoln left was because he didn't want to deal with the SEC, because he knew that he was never going to be able to put a defense up there that could deal with the SEC long term. Right? I just don't see that.
I truly think that this, if they make it or when they make it or whatever, this will be their closest game in the playoffs that they ever make. Just like we seen. Our first time making the playoffs was the closest game we had seen. We went up on Georgia. It was a close game. Should have won that game.
Should have won the game. I was in the damn stadium. They should have won the game, period.
So if they make
it. They were big enough to win then. They're not now. Yeah. And I know the SC's defense wasn't – I don't know. I don't really know what – they haven't stopped anybody all season.
No. They have not. I mean, their first 3 games, which is a joke, but
just look at what Tennessee. What happened to Tennessee when they went and played Georgia?
Yep, they got shit beat out of them.
I mean, and they were putting up 45 a game.
Yeah, and then they got held to what was that?
13, I think.
Yeah, 13. It was pretty crazy.
And I mean, and that's the whole thing is that neither one of those offenses, whether we're talking Michigan or Ohio State, is going to go out there and put 50 up.
I'm telling you,
if they do, it's because they've gotten something else. But generally speaking, they're not going to put up 50. Now they could against USC because they can't stop nobody, right? So they could have a big deal. Yeah, I love this one from James. Yeah, they'd put in 6-6 OU before TCU at 11-1. I agree with you, James, completely.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that this is a trash. What's happening with the first couple of years where they actually put some thought into who was on this committee was fine. I don't know who the committee members are this year, and I've been weirded out by some of their thoughts and what they've done, and not even necessarily with the top 4 is easy. You know what I mean? The top 4 is pretty easy at the moment. But when it comes to like the back end of it, are you going to really tell me that I believe that Alabama was only a point different from Tennessee at Tennessee with Hendon Hooker. They better be in front of them, and I think they are one in front of them. But you got people out there talking about that Tennessee would be in next rather than Bama. Get out of here. Because let's say LSU or let's say TCU and SC were to lose this weekend. Now you're looking at, is it going to be SC? Would it be Tennessee, Georgia, or not Georgia, Alabama? Tennessee, Alabama would be the next guys in, along with obviously Ohio State.
Yeah, it's going to be.
That's madness really happening.
If TCU and USC loses.
TCU probably gets another shot then if SC loses. There's really people that are there talking about that they're going to that they're already in. I don't know who that is, but
I don't think that they're guaranteed because if you lose,
if SC loses too, they're guaranteed.
Yeah. But then you never know with the committee. That's the thing. Does the committee throw in Alabama because
they do love them some Alabama?
So then they move, and then they throw Michigan up to first, Georgia second.
Here's my question
Ohio
for you.
State.
And Bryce said this before. He said Alabama would beat the brakes off of TCU. Now, do I necessarily agree with Bryce? Yeah, I do. I think that they beat the brakes off of TCU also. But that being said, honestly, though, we say that. They haven't lost a game.
And TCU beat Texas, and Alabama struggled against Texas.
Well,
I'm just comparing here.
I think at the end of the year, it's a little different, though, than what it was, at the point of now. But
I'm just thinking here. I don't know.
Yeah, here's the deal. Nobody else knows either. So, but if there's somebody out there that's already saying that TCU is in no matter what, because of the fact that they went through undefeated during their regular season, which is a round robin schedule. I think they deserve to be in. I just don't think that I think it's very unlikely unless
SEC bias.
Unless OSU or unless USC loses also, I don't think that they're in if they lose. I think that there's no way that they would stick, and they would definitely put Ohio State in before they're going to put in TCU with one loss.
I agree. I think that this is my theory, and you can call me crazy. If SC and TCU loses, they're going to flip Ohio State and possibly Alabama in there. The reason why I say this, they would move Michigan to number 1 to face Alabama. They would then move Georgia to number 2 to face Ohio State. That's a crazy scenario. The only way I say this scenario happens is if TCU loses by 2 touchdowns or more. It's the only way I say it happens. If they lose, and USC obviously loses as well, but if they lose by two or more touchdowns, they would pull the SEC bias and put Alabama in over TCU. Call me crazy. It would be interesting.
Well, Weston says I'm crazy that Alabama would not wax TCU. I think they would, but that being said, maybe.
We'll never know unless somehow
they'd have to play.
Both...
I mean, yeah. Listen, common opponents, all that other kind of crap. None of that matters. It doesn't matter.
A win is a win. They both beat Texas, but I don't know. We'll see,
I mean, common opponents don't matter. You know, there's no way a committee would vote in a one-loss team that isn't a brand. That's my entire point, James, when it comes to them losing a game. So if they lose and Ohio State goes, you know, obviously Ohio State's going to end with one loss because they're not in that conference championship game.
They would jump them.
Dakota, I'd like to believe you, but I don't.
What did he
say? He said I don't think that Alabama gets in over a one-loss TCU. I would like to believe you, but I do not.
Like I said, if TCU loses by 2 or more touchdowns, I could see it. I really could. I've seen some crazy Don't forget the committee screwed over TCU back in, what was it, 14?
Yes, they did. And Baylor.
Whenever they won. Because they were undefeated and they didn't put them in.
Yep.
And
that was all over that conference championship thing. That was good. That was thanks to the Big 12.
Yeah, because they didn't have a Big 12 game.
They screwed themselves over right there. Yeah, that was the beginning of the end when it came to Oklahoma and Texas, man.
Yeah.
It was when they didn't replace those teams and they just said, okay, well, we'll just do a conference championship game. And they still didn't replace the teams. You could tell that, you know, something was going to happen. But yeah, and you're right, Weston. TCU does have a better defense than Oklahoma. Who doesn't when they made the playoff? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's only SC. SC's going to make it, but it's what I just said. They don't have a defense. They're going to get drug no matter who they play. Which
I'm going to be watching front row and center.
Oh, bro, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Man. I cannot wait to see that. It will be fun. It will be fun. And that's what, you know, and it was Whittingham I was thinking about, Kyle Whittingham at you. I could definitely see Utah winning again and then not making it. I feel like they probably do win it, but it's a win-win no matter what, because if they do, then you get to know that they get really beat up on when they get to the playoff, and it's embarrassing for Lincoln. He's now 0-4 on his own.
Yeah. Well, brother, I am going to cut it there.
Yeah, I'm about ready to hit too.
Yes,
yeah, you got another short, long day tomorrow, and obviously this is our military guy. He will be up early in the morning. We appreciate you coming in, Peyton, and all the insight as well. Peyton Manning, follow him at Seaball Oklahoma on Twitter. He will update those pages on the
next
daily.
Week. Whenever we come in, we'll have transfer portal news, a lot more of it, I'm assuming, and we'll see where to go from there. But other than that, brother, I'll see you on the flip. I'll see you next week. So
thank you, man.
Thanks for having me. Yes, sir.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, folks. So we could continue talking a little bit about some of that other stuff if you'd like to. Again, if you are not already a subscriber, hey guys, I appreciate all the people that have been here. If you hadn't hit that like button, please do. That any kind of interaction with the show helps us out as content creators a bunch. It helps get us in front of more people that can get us more subscribers, that can finally get us monetized. Another way, if you want to help out the show anyway, we're going to have some opportunities here for tipping coming up soon. But thank you, Weston. I appreciate that. But if you want right now, as you see at the top of the screen here, up to 65 off everything in the store. And they're even doing some other better deals than that, you know, that everything is 35% off. You get multiple deals through our Fanatics link that you see above. It's bit.ly/HOF-Fanatics. Make sure you have a dash in between there. I'm going to put that in the comments right now. It's HOF-Fanatics. I got to take that one off of there. Whoops. Can't even type, folks. So yeah, but so anytime you do that, we're going to get a small commission for anything that you buy, but you get up to 65% off. It's a great way to help out the show and kind of help yourself out as well with Christmas season roll around. All your gear, merchandise, whether it's jerseys. They've got some great deals on jerseys, man. I got a jersey for my son the other day. And I got a great deal on it, man. It was, $150 jersey. I got it for like $110. So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of good deals coming out of there anyway. So check that out as well. But folks, again, we need that subscriber button. Hit that subscriber button if you hadn't already done it, and hit the like button as well. Obviously, looking at the rest of the slate this weekend, you're also going to have that Big Ten championship game, the trash championship game between Purdue and Michigan. I would think that Michigan should roll over them. And then the conference championship with the ACC as well. Let me just go ahead and pull this up real quick, make sure what times they are. And what is everybody thinking about? I like that idea of some of those guys, coming from Clemson. I would think that I would feel like that you could see that happening. And I don't feel like that BV, I'm with you guys on that. I don't think that he needs to worry about that whatsoever. Because first of all, you've already been gone a year and you've gotten your butt kicked a little bit. Go get who you need. And secondly, if they're already in the portal, go get them, So the SC Utah game is going to be at 6 p.m. on Fox. That is at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, obviously. 10 a.m. for the Big 12 championship game in Arlington. Number 10, Kansas State playing TCU. And then you also have 6 p.m. also on ABC, Clemson against North Carolina, and that's going to be at Charlotte at the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte as well. Yeah, I think so too. I feel like James just probably. I mean, look again. If they enjoyed being coached by Coach V and his guys, and I know his son is still there, but I could see that happening as well. Purdue, let's see. So the Purdue-Michigan game, all three of those other championship games are going on at the same time. Fox has got Michigan and Purdue going at 6 o'clock as well. So I guess that's going to be on FS1. Yeah, well, I mean, we all know who should win it. 2 p.m. for the SEC championship, 14 LSU playing at the Dome in Atlanta against Georgia. And then, so UCF, Tulane pretty good most of the year this year too. Folks, I appreciate everybody showing up. We've had a lot of good thank you, man. Thank you, Erik. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Yesterday was tough. It was a stupid chord or something like that, Erik, man. Sorry about that. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're back. But again, folks, I appreciate you guys coming in, checking out the show, and we will be back on. I'll come in and we'll do a live show at 9 p.m. on Saturday night, just to talk a little bit about what happened in the day. Especially, with we want to talk a little bit about SC, don't we? I think maybe they lose to Coach Whittingham and Utah, maybe. And if not, like I said, even if they win that, it's okay. They'll get their loss later. So appreciate that, Erik. That's nice of you to say. Guys, I appreciate everybody showing up tonight in the stream, and we will see you again on Saturday night.